Return to Glory podcast season 7.
Season 7.
That's wild. We're back with the same co-hosts, Austin Rose, Hunter Zarbnicki, and Dakota Freetag. It is Dakota's 3rd year, and Austin and my 7th year of the podcast. 7 miserable years of Husker football, but this is the year that things go well. Austin, congratulations on becoming a father. That is,
thank you,
number one utmost importance to kick off this year. That's why Nebraska football is going to have a great season, because we got a new fan.
Exactly. I'm glad that there's someone that I can just brainwash into blind Husker passion, hopefully, so that I have someone to be miserable with that understands my pain in my household. That's really the whole goal. Is just so if we could win something like, maybe like in like 5 to 7 years, be really good for like a stretch to really establish that fan presence. That'd be cool.
Well, first off, congrats, Austin.
Thank you, Dak.
Second off, that first part you said about this is the year everything changes. You could just cut that from every podcast you've ever done for the first episode.
You think we've said that every year?
Yeah. Now this year, there's definitely years you've said it, you don't believe it. You believe it this year.
Do we? That's the big question. Do we? Dak, before we get going, I also got to give you a congratulations as well. Dak just recently has gotten banned on Snapchat for using insensitive slurs and language. But congratulations on finding the loophole around that and getting a new Snapchat account. So you,
hey, don't say it too loud, hey, because I still get banned.
It's going on the World Wide Web now for everybody to hear. So congratulations on finding that loophole from getting banned on Snapchat.
Yeah, one of the podcasters here reported me and I got banned.
I did not report you. So anyways, congrats to both of you, Austin. Yours
a couple equivalent legit accomplishments, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Equivalent accomplishments.
Yes.
We both try our best.
Yes. Is that your best, Dak?
No. It was a rough week. It was a rough week.
It is. I think it is his best. Well, there's been a lot over the past 3 to 4 months since we've been on air. The season obviously is coming right around the corner here for Husker football. Fall camp started this week. We're recording this on Wednesday evening, July 30th. And yeah, I think the big topic of conversation, maybe not Nebraska related, but just college football in general, has to do with all of the revenue sharing, NIL, legislative, federal oversight talk that has been going on. And there's been a lot of it. We're not going to sit here and bore everyone of all the details, but I do think it's important to mention at the top that college football is changing faster than ever. It's very different to coach, to play, to be a fan of college football than it ever has been. And it's going to continue to evolve, and some people dislike it. So it's driving some people away. You know what? For me, reality, it's going to happen. It's moving that way, already has moved that way. And if you want to follow it along, great. If you don't, then don't. It's just like anything else in the entertainment industry. Players are getting paid, and we're figuring out how the logistics of that work. Actually, just a couple of days ago, President Trump came out and stated, student athletes are not employees, which we thought we were kind of moving towards that direction. Ban some third-party pay-for-play type of NIL deals. So there's a little bit of political side dabbling into this. But I guess I wanted to get your guys' opening thoughts on just where we're going in college football and how, I guess, listeners and Nebraska fans should view the thing as a whole.
I'd say for the most part, this was kind of stuff that was already happening behind the scenes for a long time. It's just now it's kind of a political football. And to be honest, it's like, do I really care? No. All right. Ticket prices going up regardless of whether they're getting shared with players or not, probably. Am I going to stop watching football because I disagree with the compensation package for athletes? No. Shamelessly, like I like the product. I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna keep watching basketball. I'm gonna keep watching volleyball. Um, so I think yes, there are a lot of people who care about it, and a lot of people should care about it because there's a lot of money, and some of those players it impacts their lives. Like it's gonna be the biggest paycheck they'll ever get, and that's important. And it's definitely, it's a billion-dollar industry, so it's totally fair that the people in which you are building your billion-dollar industry get a cut of the money, and they'll figure it out. That's their problem. I'm here to watch football.
Well, like you said, it's been going on forever.
Oh yeah.
I think now it's out in the open. It evens the playing field a lot. Now that you can just openly pay players, because back then, you can't tell me Alabama wasn't paying all these players or LSU or whatever. Like they were thrown underneath the rug, and all these top schools were doing this. And that's why you had Alabama winning it every single year, basically.
You think they were just paying people? That's why they were winning.
Yeah, yeah. It evens out the playing field. Like, look at this year. God, what was it? Notre Dame, Ohio State. Two new teams in the title game. Haven't been there for a while. In the
Yes, those
playoffs,
teams.
and everybody, there was an undefeated team going to the playoffs, right?
No.
Yes, Oregon.
Oh, you're right. Oregon was undefeated.
Or, yeah, but they had a shitty quarterback. Anyway, so I think it throws a lot more parity out there that's out in the open, and then with the transfer portal too, you don't. So say you have a top guy come in and you have a freshman behind him. That they want to play ahead of him. That top guy will just leave, and the freshman will come in and just go somewhere else. So it puts these top guys to move, or these top guys can move to other schools, basically.
Older guys.
Yeah, older top, whatever you want to call them, juniors, seniors. Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you're saying makes sense. Overall, you are going to see, like you said, more level. You're not going to see many dynasties anymore. It's going to be harder to do that, like we've seen the past 100 years of college football, because of all the things you're mentioning. I don't really agree that, I guess, the Alabama won because they were paying players. I think that was because they had a phenomenal program. I think Nebraska was on the cutting edge of weightlifting and maybe some other things that some people might accuse us of at the time. I think Nick Saban and Georgia, I think those coaching trees, I think those all stemmed from like a toughness era, and when technology was coming up and society was getting softer. So I think there's a reason other than paying people why there were dynasties and why teams are good before. But now we're here where money is getting flowed around left and right. And the biggest thing I want to mention here that is an update from when we last talked about all this, that the revenue sharing deal got passed or in place. So just to summarize, there was a big lawsuit that was backdating payments to players. I don't know the exact year, maybe 2020, 2018, something like that. Like $2.8 billion was a settlement to be paid over 10 years by the NCAA. But with this agreement and the settlement came this revenue sharing deal that basically each school is now allowed around $20.5 million to be paid to their athletes from the school directly. What is interesting about that is how schools are going to allocate those funds to their different programs. For example, Nebraska obviously prides their football team. Most schools do. The estimate online that I kind of found was 75% of that money in general from all schools is going to football, 15% is going to men's basketball, 5% to women's basketball, and then 5% to other. Houston basketball, for example, is getting closer to 25 to 30% of that chunk of change. Nebraska volleyball, I'm guessing, is getting more than the average school because of who we are in that sport.
Is Nebraska volleyball more than the men's basketball team?
I don't know the exact numbers for Nebraska, and
It probably should be.
I don't think anybody's going to know really until this kind of all plays out. But that's just an estimation of how this money is going to work from the school. Now, this is in addition, right, to some of the stuff that's happening in NIL. But I think it's a start to maybe put the reins on NIL a little bit and say, nope, these universities are now going to be able to pay the schools, and we don't have to worry about paying the athletes through these third parties and all these other NIL deals. That was just the wild, wild west.
I knew we were going to talk about the revenue share, and my hot take was forget about the football program, dump it all, and so we just become like freaking rock stars in women's basketball, men's basketball, volleyball, women's soccer, like just completely pivot. Like men's football, they got plenty of money. You know, what more money do they need? Let's just make a freaking show.
I love that. I heard another podcast, a Locked On Nebraska podcast, the Daily Nebraska podcast on 3. They talked about the same thing. Like, at what point do you just say screw football?
Let's go. We got money.
Let's pay some other sport and let's go win some natty titles. So it's funny because I think that's out there now. Will it ever happen? No. But it's a fun take to think about now that you have money. I actually know kind of through an inside story of Eastern Michigan men's golf that's paying some, I don't know who this golfer is, like $2 million of that money to basically go win a natty title in men's golf. Like that was their goal, is just to get a bunch of good guys and go do that, which, because they're like, Eastern Michigan's never going to win a natty title in football. You're not winning it in any major sport. So let's go find this and let's go do it.
Yeah. No, that's why I said, forget it. I understand why you want, because you're like, your boosters are pumping in all this money, and it's like the university isn't putting in their fair share. But it'd be freaking sick if we're just like, all right, we're already pretty good at some of these things. Let's just go. Let's just go ham.
Yeah. So can you change this every year? Like where you're throwing all this money?
I don't think there's a lot of insight as to where it's going. And I don't know if the public's ever going to know exactly how it's allocated. Maybe it will be public record.
They will, but it has to be, because if it's university paying it out.
True. So
at least for a state university,
you're going to have an idea. And that dollar amount is increasing incrementally over the next several years. So, I mean, maybe I just think that's something else that universities and especially the top level universities have to decide. And that's why you're seeing general manager type of people get hired for all these sports and athletic department, because there is now a commercialized professional aspect of college sports that you have to deal with that wasn't there before.
So yeah, with basketball wise, you got to think Duke and North Carolina are probably throwing like over 50% into basketball.
Oh, Bill Belichick costs at least. His
I forgot about
that. Take out $7 million alone.
I forgot about that. So North Carolina's out of the picture, but so it'd be tough to even say you did want to just throw all your money in basketball. It'd be tough you'd have to throw a shit ton and just say screw every other program to do that for basketball.
Last thing I'll say around this topic, and we'll have a lot more of these too, just as you're listening and following college sports, college football this fall, just keep in mind too that decisions are now being made, and really you're getting judged as a head coach now, as a businessman, as a owner a little bit, because you're deciding on which players to keep, which ones to recruit and pay. I heard a great example the other day that Jamari Butler, we probably could have paid a guy like that to stay around, but he's an upperclassman. All right. Instead, we go after Williams Nweri, however you say his last name, we'll learn it here, as a freshman, and paid him a big chunk of change, right, at early on. So you're making decisions now. Where are we throwing this money at within the program based on potential? At the same time, you're trying to keep them here. Like Dak mentioned, the transfer portal is still live and out there. So that's also something to factor. And on top of that, the walk-on program is going away. The roster limit and the roster sizes you're going to have to cut. You got to have a set amount of guys on your roster. And that's another thing that adds all into this, that if you're one of these fringe level guys and you're not making money, you have no reason to stay, like, because you're probably going to get cut. So there's a whole lot of aspects that go into piecing all this together now that doesn't have anything to do with the play on the field, but you will see decisions being made and coaches being evaluated as, well, why in the hell did you just pay this guy $800,000 we have some offensive linemen coming in that we're doing that to. And if they turn out to be trash, not only are you like, what did we do recruiting that guy? We just wasted X amount of dollars on this guy. Those conversations are going to be, for the better or the worse, out there as well.
I agree. I mean, that's why there's more overhead positions in college football. It seems like Matt Rhule's hiring somebody to be head of, player payment processing. It's like, oh, new head of player payment processing from Eastern Michigan. It seems like every other day there's some guy getting hired. Which that's
I
what
mean,
you need when you're running a, $1 million company.
yeah, it's basically a pro
Yes.
program now because you have, which Nebraska does have a GM, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not there yet. I don't think it's not there, but it's moving that direction. I'll say it's not a professional, but it's moving.
There's no
that
contracts
way.
yet.
Right. It's moving that way. I still think it's going to go that way. Now, the Trump thing kind of throws it for a little bit of a loop. Some of the stuff that he came out and spoke
But that's
about.
just an executive order, which has absolutely no legal
Correct.
precedent over it. It's no law.
But people are making opinions at a federal level now about it, which is more than anything is done since everything started back in 2020. And people, I think, kind of wanted that, but I think some people just got used to the rapid evolvement of all of this stuff that's going on that, again, we could spend 3 episodes talking about it. But I just wanted to set that field up front before we talk about Nebraska, because all that stuff is intermixed with rosters and schedules and conference realignment, which we didn't even talk about. But all of that stuff is the noise that is out there that everybody's hearing about, right? That does not really directly impact the field, but indirectly does each team. So any other off-season big picture college football news? SEC versus Big Ten, that's kind of a little duel right now. But I think there's need more that comes out of that, and schools moving, TV contracts, who's the bigger, badder conference. I think that's all just going to be an ongoing rivalry right now, which I don't think is bad for the sport.
I mean, we've said it. I think I've said this before. The SEC and Big Ten basically run the sport now. There's no NCAA. It's
football for sure.
Yeah, I know the NCAA's trying now to finagle their way in there. I think it's a little too late to do that. But yes, I mean, the conferences are holding a lot of power right now because that's where all the money's at.
Yeah. The NCAA just let it go too long without stepping into anything, and now they're just not a thing anymore. And basically the conferences run it all.
Okay. Next topic, very broad. I'm just going to throw out Matt Rhule and his name to start this next topic conversation. So background here, and this is probably some common knowledge to any passionate Husker football fan. Year 3 of Matt Rhule has been historically good for those programs. At Temple, where he started, and then moving over to Baylor, where each year incrementally or drastically got better. And year 3 was kind of the turnaround year. Now, it did not work at Carolina. That's the NFL. Husker diehards are going to say, well, that's the NFL. It's different than college. They could be right. But it's year 3 here in Nebraska for Matt Rhule. His first 2 years, 5-7. And then last year, 7-6 with the win in the Pinstripe Bowl, putting him at 12-13 overall. Another big record stat to throw out there. Everybody blames Scott Frost and his program for the 1-score losses. Matt Rhule, in his time at Nebraska, is 2-9 in 1-score games, which is the worst percentage of everybody in 1-score games. So I guess the question or the topic of conversation for Matt Rhule, I guess, where's he sit at? Because it is year 3. I think everybody has a different perspective on him as a leader, as a head football coach, as a person. So yeah, I guess Austin, start with you.
So I've been thinking about this. because I've been watching the press conferences, and I like Matt Rhule. I do. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good coach. But gosh, am I tired of listening to him talk? Not like in like a this guy talks too much, but it's like I feel like we're shoveling the. It's just, and I understand you're staying on message. This is what we're doing. We're not going to deviate. But gosh, it's getting a little boring, getting a little dry. I don't know how many times I have to hear like, "Oh man, we're a team, of lions, and we eat what we kill." And it's. I'm ready for games to start so we can actually start critiquing the team a little bit. But his offseason stuff, it's very complimentary, all the right things.
Here's what I think you're saying, and I completely agree. It's like when you go into a car dealership and you just listen to the same car salesman. Like it's the same pitch, it's the same, no matter who you get, and you just kind of go, yeah, here we go again. That's kind of what I'm getting the vibe.
And
of.
he's saying the right things, and you
Yep.
believe him. You're like, I know you're not trying to pull one over on me, but am I going to drive this car off the lot? It's going to be a lemon. You're going to feel bad that it's a lemon. You didn't know it was a lemon. You had no idea. It's the 2025 Kia Sorento, and how was I supposed to know they had bad transmissions and that they would blow out at 60,000 miles right after the warranty? It's like, I like him. I think he's a good coach. I'm excited for year 3. I really hope everything he's saying, but I got halfway through his last press conferences, like I'm tuning. I just catch myself tuning out because I'm not getting a lot of updates, and he's very secretive, which is what you want. You want your coach to be like, I'm not putting everything out there, but
and to piggyback off that, Austin, I think one of my thoughts I've had over the last, well, I guess since he came here, right? You look at it as a little bit of a relationship with them. You have a honeymoon phase. With anything new, there's excitement, there's hype. All these same comments come off as, man, he's just selling our team. He's selling the program. This is progress, selling progress. And you're kind of excited about it. But then after a little while, you start with this with any coach or anything that's new. You go, okay. You're still hearing it. All right. Well, now I hope he's right. I hope it works out. I think it can, but we're just hearing the same stuff. Like Big Ten Media Days for me was like, okay, like, yep.
You
like
could have You could have played me 2024's Big Ten Media Days. That's 2025, and I probably would have believed most.
Yep. So that's what happens though when you're in year 3. I just think we're at a spot where the honeymoon phase is kind of worn off with any new coach, with any new leader.
Maybe that's every coach. We just hardly make it. We hit year 3, and it's just an utter disaster for the last 3 head coaches. So it's like, all right,
I think it's a product of that, but also the product of the burnout that we've had with previous coaches. Scott Frost in year 4 revamps his entire coaching staff, whether he was forced to or whatever, and it got people juiced up again. Now, not everybody, but I think the fan base in general now is a little bit more in show me mode, which
I would say in a general comment, not necessarily Matt Rhule related, but also revamped coaching staff, all new head coordinators for offense, defense, and special teams. And it's like, it's being talked about, but it's also not. It's like, okay, yes, his year 3 is supposed to be his big year, but he's already had to pivot to all new coordinators, and his offensive staff has 4 former. His former offensive coordinator is still on staff, and he has 2 other ones that he brought in last year that are now on staff. And
Dak, you called it how bad Satterfield was as an OC, right, from the get-go. And that's on you, Scott, or Matt Rhule, for hiring him. Okay. Tony White.
There's another one.
Was great, but he's gone, and that got closed up in like less than a month from when he's gone. Now we don't ever know what happened. And it's never gonna get brought up again. So you're right, Austin. It is kind of similar to Rhule in year 4. Like, it's revamped. Now let's see where it goes.
But it's also like it's revamped partly because of necessity. And like, we won a bowl game. Like, we went in the right direction and we still revamped everything. I just don't know how to feel about it. Maybe, throw it to the panel. I feel good about all the coordinators. We saw Holgerson. Butler was really good at Buffalo, and he was on staff before White left, and White left because of whatever. He was probably going to leave anyways at some point. And we're happy that we got a new special teams coordinator that then
Who?
came in and switched up the entire punting approach. And then all of our punting recruits had to leave because we brought in like a jillion punters because this is how we're going to punt. And now we're like, no, we're punting rugby style now.
I didn't write down our new punter's name, but we could talk about him in some other episode. It sounds like
It's
he's killing it
Archie
right now.
Archie something.
And he's a big dude too. I'm jacked. I think Mike Eckler, out of any of the hires or maybe any single thing for Husker football that I'm like really excited about, and I probably believe in the most. You want to talk about a guy that doesn't drink the Kool-Aid, that's drinking the Kool-Aid, is Mike Eckler and the special teams. One, because God, can it get any worse than it has been the past few years? And this guy, born, bred Nebraska, like coming back, been everywhere. Like I have the most faith in that. And man, that will be the one thing that breaks my heart if our special teams like just sucks again. But that's kind of going off the rails a little bit. Dak, I think you, as an outsider, but now a fan, as you're sitting here wearing a Husker hat tonight. Like, what do you think, Matt Rhule, year 3, the outlook is?
So you were saying how every coach year 3 is turned into a disaster, or is when the disaster basically hits.
Yeah.
You got to think though, with Frost and then Riley, not as bad, but even before year 3, it was a disaster.
I disagree with that. It could have been
Disaster.
maybe to an outsider, but internally it was not.
You didn't think going 3-9 was a disaster?
No, we were the best 3-19 ever. Haven't you heard?
Yeah.
I mean, but
It really felt like we were right. It felt like we were right there.
Yes.
Like it's like, okay, I've seen the progress. We are on the cusp. Like we're 3-9, but we're a razor edge 3-9. So it's like, all right, next year's the
looking back on it, would Husker fans say it was a disaster from the get-go? Yeah, we would laugh and say, man, Scott Frost started off 0-6 at Nebraska. Like, what were we doing? But
he had a lot more leeway because of his name.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say they were a disaster, but maybe externally they kind of were. I mean, it ended up being a disaster.
Yeah, look, so the thing with the Rhule is, like you guys said, every press conference is just everything's going great right now. There's nothing bad going on, which I guess a lot of coaches are like that. You're not going to come out and say this team sucks, like
especially in today's world,
right? Yeah, and we're just tired of it because, like I'm not watching LSU. I'm not watching Brian Kelly. Maybe everyone there is tired of what he says because he's been saying the same thing.
We're tired of it.
You really don't want to watch his either because those have to suck.
We're tired of it, Austin, because we want to win. Like,
yes,
and we want to win now, and we've been waiting for so long. That's why we're tired of it, because it's like, yes, this is right, this is true. But like, if you're LSU, since we're stuck on them, like LSU's now, their expectations might be different, so they might be tired of not, I don't know, making a New Year's Six bowl or making the playoffs, but like they're beating teams that they should beat. They're not throwing out these crazy records of hitting the unders in their win total in every year since 2016. Like they're not doing that. So I think that's a little bit why there's so much ants with Husker fans and listening to Rhule, but also previous coaches talk the way they're talking and then not getting results. Now, this is a year we can get results. Like year 3 or 4 with any new coach in really any sport, you now have had time to get your guys, and especially now with NIL, establish what you want to do, make some tweaks along the way, which we've made some major tweaks. So it is. I don't think Rhule will be here in year 5 if we go 6-6 2 more years. I don't think that will happen because you need more than that.
I think there's one reason why you guys are like, we got to win now, and it's the quarterback position.
I mean, yeah, partly. I mean,
do we want to move on from Rhule and go to Raiola?
Yeah,
is that what you're trying to do?
I think I've said everything.
There's one topic I want to bring up about Rhule that it's about the first game of the year. And we can revisit this before the first game. Do you guys think that Cincinnati is the biggest game of his career so far at Nebraska. I can think of one other one that might be close, but
Colorado.
yeah, that was the one I was thinking
You
of. That
go
might
out
be
and get
close.
absolutely rolled by Colorado, all faith is lost.
At home, lose. I mean, I think that was a
Yes.
huge game, and we won that one.
Yep.
You got to think, though, you got to lose Cincinnati, start on one. I think the train could fall off the tracks.
Yeah, and I think that's a very realistic possibility. I think every game last year until we got that 6th win was as important. Because not after the start we had last year and not making a bowl game, like I don't think we're sitting where we are today. I don't think Dylan Raiola is here. If that happens, I think it falls off a cliff. So I think all those were as important, but a single game, like, yeah, going into this year, it's huge. We are better than Cincinnati from a Vegas odd standpoint. I think in hopefully a lot of areas, but does that mean we're going to win the game? No. I hope that's in the players' mindsets and the coaches of not getting that overlooked, because it will get overlooked because of the Michigan game in week 4. I've already saw stuff today on that Michigan-Nebraska game being one of the top 5 Big Ten games of the season. Like, the Cincinnati game is so big for so many reasons. And I agree, Dak. I do think the locker room losing to Cincinnati after losing so many opening games the past 7 or 8 years, I think the locker room's going to go, here we go again. And forget going 9-3. Here we go again. Let's fight to get to a bowl game. Like, that's going to be the thought in everybody's mind, whether it's right or wrong. That's where it's going to be if we lose that opening game.
It reminds me of a lot of the Northwestern game with Frost. How that you lost that, the train just completely fell off tracks. I think it could be the same way here if you lose Cincinnati. That could be it right there.
Especially if it's a 1-score loss, like, and we do
Yeah.
something stupid on special teams. Like, God, I'm knocking on wood because I do not want that to happen. But man. Okay. Let's move on. Dylan Raiola, our first segment of the Dylan Raiola Wait show. He's listed 230 on the 2025 roster.
What was he last year?
I don't know. I think he looks good, guys. I think from what I've seen, he looks a lot better. His body looks more in shape.
He's ready to run this year, man.
Let's see what that translates like to on the field. I know on the new college football video game, I think he's still way too fast because he can move a little bit on that game. But he looks like he did what we thought he needed to do, what people started talking about in the offseason and what he started talking about, Rhule started talking about. Like, it looks like he's achieved that heading into fall camp. Dak, you mentioned, I think, talk about the hype or, the ties with Matt Rhule. But forget Matt Rhule. This is Dylan Raiola's program right now, whether you like it or not. He is the face of about everything. And for a young man, has done a fairly good job of handling everything as a 19-year-old. It's his, though, until he doesn't want it anymore. I don't think we are going to ever bench Dylan Raiola or kick him out and force him out. I don't think we're going to do that. So it's his. I think the pressure is going to be on him to lead this team in one way or another, even though he's only a sophomore. I think that's the hype and the expectations. Last year, I think we all went through, like, to me, very much as expected or of going into the year where we thought maybe he would be. It's not like he blew it out of the water. He struggled at times. Definitely couldn't avoid anything in the backfield, but he did about what he should have as a freshman, made some freshman mistakes.
And he had a couple of throws. You're like, oh, like, holy smokes, that dude can sling it.
And then he had some stuff where you're like, okay, there's that raw talent. Holy cow, there's a lot here. So you had your good and your bad, and you ended up out in the middle. This year, your expectations go up. There's a world where he really exceeds those in year 2. There's a world where he doesn't improve at all from last year too. So Dylan Raiola, I think, is a big piece of this team. Like I said, the focal point, the leader, is his team this year. And I think all the players know that too. I think that's a very known thing amongst Nebraska football right now.
I mean, he recruited half of them, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Emmett Johnson just out there on the town hanging out. No, I think he looks good. I'm excited. Uh, for those of you interested, plus 6,500 for Heisman odds. So make some good money if you want to put some money on that Dak.
Yep. Let me go grab my checkbook real quick.
He's lower than Indiana's starting quarterback. If that makes you feel any better. um, I think I agree. Last year I think we had us specifically had adequate expectations. We didn't think he's going to go out there and rip the roof off of everything, but I think he played well. The quarterback position did not. I didn't when he dropped back. I didn't have to like panic because I thought the ball was going to be intercepted. I think people forgot how bad it was. Like I can't even begin to describe how bad 2 years ago was,
We
or
had
3 years. Like
yeah.
when
You go back to pass and people be like, no, no.
Yes, 100%. So that was not an issue last year, which is a huge step forward. I expect him to make a decent step forward with a whole nother year under Dana Holgerson. Do I think he's going to win a Heisman? No. Do I think he has the chance to be a top 3 QB in the Big Ten? Probably.
What is that saying if he's top 3 in the Big Ten this year? The Big Ten's pretty bad at quarterback, but
Maybe.
he said at Big Ten media days he's going to run a lot more this year.
He's hoping to run more this year.
Yeah, hoping, which he should. He had so much open lane. The one game where he did run, the Ohio State game, he he ran all over the field that game and he just never did it again. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that was a product of, and Ryan Day came out and said it, like they just said he can't do it because he hasn't shown he won't.
Yeah.
He won't, whether he can't do it or he won't do it, because he's afraid to get hurt. Right. I think there's obviously a fine line between throwing your body out there and just taking shots and deciding when to run. You see that at every level of football. So I think it's defining what that is in this offense, and I think Dana has helped him with that in the offseason. So yeah, I agree, Dak. That was a product of Ohio State saying he's not going to do it, and Dylan did it, and it helped our offense that day. And then
20 yards, when 20 yards up, and he
after
took it.
that, Dak, just so I can help you understand football a little bit, teams probably adjusted a little bit to his ability to maybe at least do a little something running. I don't think it was he never decided to run again. I don't think that was the case. I just think teams probably adjusted a little bit because they're like, okay, he maybe can a little bit.
You can't tell me that there wasn't like 5 yards there in his other game, 5 yards that he's wouldn't take because he just wouldn't run last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely times. Like I said, there's a fine line between deciding how aggressive you want to be. I mean, there were a couple of times where it was what he went down when he had the first down, went down like a yard short. Like
yeah,
we saw those times. But there, like I said, there's a fine line of taking a hit and getting a first down. And some of the old school people would say, you got to go for it the whole time. Well, you're going to do that. You are risking injury, and that might be the correct approach. Some people are going to take the opposite approach and say never get hit ever because we don't want Jalen Gramstead to play. Like
right, our QB room depth is not that great.
Now, I've heard that too. To be fair,
no QB room depth.
How many Division I programs have a really good QB2? Like, it's not like the NFL where you can bring in a backup and say, okay, this guy can function. There's not many.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking probably top 6 in the Big 3 conference. The backup quarterback at Texas is probably pretty good. The backup quarterback at Alabama is probably pretty freaking good.
Correct.
Yeah, the main thing though with him is, I mean, he had 6 games with him last year, but having a full offseason under Holgerson, I don't think you actually were able to see what Holgerson wanted to do with the offense all last year because he just had to kind of throw it together. So it'll be interesting now to see what kind of offense he's actually wants to run.
And I know we're going to get to position breakdowns in the actual team, but like the offensive line feels pretty solid. Emmett Johnson feels like he's going to be fully involved, and they kind of have that connection. Ja'Cory Barney is a whole nother year older, and you feel better. Our offense felt okay last year. You don't feel it doesn't feel like Raiola is going to backslide because of the other parts of the offense. If he backslides, it's because of him.
Correct.
It's
And
not like the team got worse around him.
Dana Holgerson, as a coordinator, has never had anything outside of a top 25 scoring offense. To put that in perspective, as an offensive coordinator. So now he's not been in the Big Ten, right? He's been Big Ten style is a lot different. But that being said, Dana knows offense, and we know that. And Dak, I guess to your point, getting more time, like what do you think?
He's had a whole offseason to dissect.
Yeah, and
Marcus
what do you
Satterfield's
think? What do you think
playbook.
that looks like? Like what difference? What
Lit on
difference?
fire. Yeah, he didn't want anything to go out of that Marcus Satterfield playbook. I think it's going to look more like it did in the Big 12. Like I said last year, I think it's going to be more of an air raid offense now.
God, I hope not. I hope not. But again, it's opinion.
That's what he loves to run.
An opinion.
And he's got the quarterback for it.
I just don't think that's sustainable in the Big Ten. I hope he realizes that. I think that right there would lead us down a very a path set for failure, I think, for this
But
year.
I feel like last year he showed that he could get creative with the running back.
Agreed. Yeah. I don't think that he can't. I'm just saying that I hope we don't go air raid.
I agree, and I don't think he will. I don't think Rhule would let him.
Not full blown, but I think a version of it. I think
you just said air raid. Yeah,
a version. It won't be a full blown. Let's go 80% air raid. Like you'll be throwing.
Yeah, I hope it's not 80% air raid. Like I get what you're saying, Dak, because that's what Dana's kind of done. I just think that it's got to be very, and they've said it, complementary football. I think Dana's smart enough to figure it out. I think it's going to be a different playbook though than what we've seen from Dana Holgerson, because of the conference you're playing in and the different pieces that you have. Now, I agree with Austin. We brought in like Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter. I think I shouldn't say this, but I think are the best transfer wide receivers we brought in recent years. That's what we've been hearing anyways. So I hope that they are, and that will help our passing game. That way we can help our running game as well. Because I what comes first, passing to set the run or running to set the pass? You could argue that both ways. But I think the pieces seem to be better than what we've had. And that is, it's Raiola, it's Holgerson, it's Rhule, it's all of the recruiting stuff that you just hope, again, that it pays out in year 3 so we can see some wins.
I will say, so Holgerson took over the last 3 games, right? Last year?
3 or 4-ish in there, yep.
So last year, Nebraska had the 6th longest game of possession in the nation. And then the last 3, it only dropped to 10th. It dropped about 40 seconds. So I mean, he played a little bit quicker, maybe a fewer less runs, but we were still in the top 10 for the last 3 games.
Here's the thing I was going to bring up, and I don't think it's been a long time since Nebraska will say this. I think it's flipping this year. The Nebraska can be an offensive football team instead of a defensive football team.
Whoa.
I think it's been a long time since you said that, and I mean, which group are you more confident in going the season? Your offense or your defense? I would say offense by
probably right, confidence wise.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more unknowns, even though we got new coordinators both ends. I think there's a lot more unknowns on defense.
Player personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, going to the season, Nebraska's an offensive team, I would say.
I would agree. We have 7 offensive coordinators on staff. There's no way we aren't an offensive team.
Yeah. And it's been a long time since you've been able to say that. I mean, I can't think the last time.
We had 7 offensive coordinators on staff.
Well, yeah, that. You got a good quarterback.
I actually hope that I hope we can be arguing this midway through the year because both units are
good,
solid. Like I mean, if one's like exceptionally well and the other one's good, then that means we're probably sitting 7 or 8-0 midway through the year. But yeah, I hope our offense can at least catch our defense to where they were last year. / I hope our defense doesn't decline below our offense, because if our offense gets that much better and our defense declines, I still don't think that's a good recipe to compete in the Big Ten. I think you have to build foundation on defense to be in games, which we have been. We just haven't won them because we're 2-9 since Rhule's been here, and however much before that with Frost. So I think you have to have a strong defense in the Big Ten. Doesn't mean our offense can't get better, but I think that's the word complementary that everybody throws around now when talking about complementary football. So I do. I think that's a good point. I just hope that for the sake of the team, I hope it's not a little bit, because I want our defense I want us to still hang our hat on our defense and our offense just to catch where they've been at.
I just put in my calendar, October 15th, we will come back to this talk.
All right, there you go.
Last bit of conversation that I want to get to that was a big thing probably 3-4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was way overblown because there was nothing else going on, not just in college football, but just in sports in general. But with Scott Frost comments about basically don't take the wrong job is what he said in quotes.
Not
Yeah,
the wrong statement. He's not wrong.
So that was the quote. That's what got talked about. To put the follow up on, Rhule in the Big Ten media's days, kind of didn't necessarily straight up back Frost, but kind of explained how
he defended Frost. He straight up defended Frost. He's like,
so he said that, it wasn't a good job either when I took over. So I think the message here and the conversation is one for both people, and I'll start with Frost. Like, why even say it? Even though some people might think it's true. Like, can you not just go out there and give the generic, like, someone's going to ask about it, right? It's your first head coaching job. Someone's going to say something. Do you not just have a canned answer of, yep, I tried it. It didn't work out. I learned from it. And now I'm here. Like, can you not just have that answer? But instead, you got to say something. So he said something, and that's Frost.
He planned that. He knew.
That's what I'm saying.
Question was coming.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's still his ego inside of him. He had the answer ready. I think he had the answer planned. Like, it's just how it, like, his ego still had to say it. And then Rhule then following up, did he have to really address it? No, but you also knew that you were going to get asked about it. He actually talked about how they had something in the locker room, a poster or something of Frost on some of the side conversations, like basically saying that he's not an enemy. Like, so anyways, a lot of drama around these comments, and that's what you do in off season. But I do think, Austin, I'll let you go. I guess you said there's some truth with that. That's not what, a lot of common Husker Kool-Aid fan drinker type of people will say, dude, what the hell? But
I will say my initial reaction was like, dude, like, he's not wrong. You don't want to take being in the right place for you is super important to how well you succeed. But it did feel like he was like, it's not my fault it went bad. It was a bad job from the get-go. There's nothing I could do. Don't take the wrong job. That's what it felt like. Do I think before he said this, if he had came back, I think Memorial Stadium still would have given him a standing ovation, even though he had a terrible tenure as head coach. I think for the most part, Nebraska fans recognize it didn't work out. He's still a legend. But now,
I think
not anymore. He's not.
I don't think so.
You put a little dagger in there and twisted it.
It's just one of those things where it's like, yes, was it probably not the right job for you? Was it a little bit too close to home? Maybe a little too big for not too big for him, but
spotlight was constantly on him.
Yes, was the spotlight too big? Not the role, but the spotlight. Probably. Would you have been fine staying at UCF? Yes. Would you be undefeated every year you were there? Probably not. Is having the right job important? Yes. But do you say that about an alma mater who paid you a ton of money and you went and did just absolutely horrible as a head coach? No. It was the right job. 100% the right. It's like, you can come home and save Nebraska football. And if he does that, he becomes a freaking legend. But he didn't. And him saying it felt a little bit like it's not my fault. There's no way I could have fixed it. It was the wrong job.
Correct.
It was his fault though. Like
Yes.
Thanks, Dak. Thank you. Thank you for.
we've all heard the rumors about what he was doing.
Yes.
Like he didn't give it his all coaching here at all. I don't know. Why even say that? That's
Why say it? That's exactly right. You can. There's just so many ways you could have avoided the question. You know, grass isn't always greener. That's enough.
It's like, has he learned anything? Just become any humility at all from the job in Nebraska? Then went to the Rams, or went to maybe it's Arizona State. The Rams had a couple of things like there. Like, did he learn anything from that? And people, maybe wanted to have a little bit of feel bad for the guy. Like, okay, glad he got a coaching job, and then bam.
I'll be honest. I wanted UCF to do well. I want them to do horrible now.
I was kind of the same, but I don't necessarily want him to fail, but I kind of do.
I do now. I didn't before. That's the thing. He could have come home. He still have been welcomed as you're still Scott Frost. Like, you tried it. We appreciate it. It didn't work out, but welcome home. And now it's like, I don't know. I don't think so.
If he would have had just a generic answer, no one would even know that Scott Frost had a press conference that day.
No one would have cared.
He wanted to make news with what he said.
Gosh, I hope they just get freaking obliterated. Put them on the schedule. Put them on the schedule.
I don't know if we want to, do we?
Yes. This is the year. I want them on this year.
My last conspiracy theory, or not really conspiracy theory, but thoughts around long term, or not next couple of years, where things could go. So to your point, Austin, about maybe he can be a little bit right in how you kind of phrased it. So here's the world that I see where he's right. And this goes back to why I think, and I know we've had some discussion around this, of why I think a big reason why Nebraska football has struggled, Nebraska sports in general, but football has struggled, is the hype and the fans and the spotlight that you put on the players, the coaches, which comes with sports, but we're in Nebraska where there's nothing else. And so what do? We literally blow everything up out of proportion. We analyze everything like we're doing now. Hell, we're part of the problem. I'm not we're here doing the same thing. But the big picture of Nebraska football as an entity is why it's not a good job, because you can't get away. You're a celebrity, and Scott Frost was a celebrity in his own reason. You cannot just do your work. You're constantly being pulled in a billion directions and having to deal with stuff that at UCF you don't have to deal with. And that was part of what Scott Frost said, was he can just go and do his own thing. That I think,
which is why I think Matt Rhule is better for Nebraska than Scott Frost.
Correct. Now, here's my conspiracy with that. I think if things go south, Rhule is already starting to set the stage for a very similar angle. Number one, and this is my theory, nobody knows his tweet that's probably a month and a half ago, that said something about, I can't remember exactly how it was stated, but negativity, people profit off of negativity, your time is over, or something to that effect. Nobody knows really what that was about. My theory is what it was about was hinted at 3 Nebraska sports writers, or 2 guys that put together the Groin Kit Chronicles, which, if you haven't listened to it, it is kind of decent. It's on the I-80 Club podcast. They rank all of our losses since Bo Pelini got fired. So every loss is ranked on a scale of 1 to 70, because there's been 70 of them, on a numerical stat they gave it of how hard or how much it hurt by getting kicked in the groin. That's what the Groin Kick Chronicles. And I think that's what that comment was based off of, at the media, at people. Now, people had other thoughts from national stuff to whatever they thought it was about, but nobody's ever going to know what it was. I think that was his first frustration. Second thing, he made a comment I think it was Big Ten Media Days. Maybe it was something else on positivity in Nebraska. He said it's something about it takes everybody to do this thing, to do it the right way. We have to stop thinking so negatively and blah, blah, blah. He made some comment about positivity. Okay. Then third, I think now by taking Frost's side a little bit here without directly saying, I completely agree with Coach Frost, basically roundabout, like we said, sided with him, supported him. I not that he's doing it on purpose, but I think a little bit, if things do go south, you're going to start seeing those frustrations come out because Rhule's going to talk. We know he's going to talk. He's going to speak out. Now, do I think he's a little more mature and grown up and take responsibility for his actions? Absolutely, than Scott Frost did. But I don't think he's going to go out and at his next job, if he were to get let go in a couple of years and say, "Oh, Nebraska football was the best university and I just messed up." I think he's going to have some similar opinions about,
which are fair critiques of the program.
That's my thought. Which fair critiques, but stuff that we've talked about.
That's why. See, I'm not going to go conspiracy theories laying the groundwork. I think he's just being straight up honest with being like, there are some critiques about the Nebraska fandom, but yet he goes about it very. I mean, he massages it and he sugarcoats it like it. No, people are drinking it and they're like, man, he freaking loves this place. He's like, yeah, you're right. It does require a pot. It's like, no, he's basically saying like, you guys need to chill the fuck out. Like,
and as we're going up, and things start going down with any coach, I'm not just saying it's here, but here especially because that's all we talk about. Then that's when it goes a big explosion.
Right. And I think he's also recognizing that there isn't like you just don't, when you're building a program, it's not just a straight to the top.
Correct. Unless you're Indiana.
Well, we'll see how it goes this year.
We'll see. Yep.
Right? Was that lightning in a bottle, or is that a product of schedule and luck? We'll see.
How can Rhule complain about the positivity of Nebraska fans or media, Nebraska fans, whatever, when every offseason it's we're gonna win it all basically.
I don't
that's not positive.
Every other thing
that's not positivity. That's delirious.
Delirious. It's a lot of it. A little bit of sarcasm. Dak, I think to that point, I think that's fading a lot more.
It is, yeah.
I think people are in prove it mode now, which I think is still good. So for a different reason, yeah, you're talking about negative, but I think that's just where we're at. That's just reality of what things are happening, and we're just impatient for things to happen now. Like instead of us looking at Indiana and going, "that was a fluke, one-off thing." Good for Indiana. Like there's inside of everybody goes, God damn it!
I wish we were Indiana.
Why can't we do that for 1 year? Like what are we doing wrong that Indiana's got no resources compared to us? Why can't we do that?
There's probably some frustration within Rhule of like he's not getting the patience because Frost burned Nebraska fans' patience. Like Nebraska fans used all their patience for the last 2 years of Scott Frost. Now he's coming in and it's like, hey man, it takes time to build a program. And they're like, no, we gave you time. It's like, no, you gave Scott Frost time. I'm not getting any time to build this. And so I'm sure there's some internal frustration with that of just trying to address it.
That's going to come out too. I agree. I think that's right for both sides. Like I think fans, we have a right to want it to happen
expectations.
Now. Yep. We have a right to want it now. And I think the college football world even gives fans more right, but Rhule's also right. And any coach is that you want time to prove yourself, no matter what job you're doing. And yes, did we see progress in year 2? Yep.
Yes.
What does progress look like in year 3? We'll talk about that on some other episode, but I think we're all going to define that very differently. Rhule's going to define it differently than probably we do, than the next person does. So that's the measuring stick in a program in year 3 or 4.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Also, Scott Frost, let's not. I mean, you got paid. You got offered. You had a $35 million contract for 7 years. Let's not be like,
yes, thank you for saying that too. We're paying you that much money too, and then you still got to say that. Yeah, that's the other part. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. I hope you do terrible
God.
this year.
Yeah, everybody feels bad for you.
I'm going to the UCF at K-State game. I think it's September 27th.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
Huskers are on a bye that week, and I think I might wear my frost warning red shirt.
So we know when we look in the stands, we'll be cheering up, standing up cheering.
You're gonna be the only Husker fan wearing a red shirt.
People will
there.
be confused. What is this guy doing?
You gonna boo him?
I don't know what I'll do. I haven't decided. I have a UCF shirt from when we hired Frost. I have obviously Frost Nebraska stuff, and I have K-State stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll somehow find a way to do all three.
Why not?
All right.
Move on.
Well, yeah, this is obviously episode 1 of the 2025 season, but we'll be diving into more player position talk, our schedule. We've had some fun predictions get sent in on percentage chances of winning every game. So we'll do some analysis on our schedule here in the upcoming weeks. We'll be going 2 times a week here. So episodes will come out on Monday morning and Thursday morning. Every week we'll do a post-game recap on Sundays, and then Wednesday we'll do the midweek preview and headlines. So kind of similar schedule there. We're going to try to have some more guests on this year too. So if you're interested, want to come on and talk, and it'll be a little more organized, I think, this year than what we've done in the past with our guests, but we will have more of those as well. So exciting things. Oh, also social media. Dak's out
There's a
there running
poll out there.
running our Twitter page. We're going to get him on some Instagram, maybe. We're on YouTube as well. Our videos are on YouTube if you want to watch not live, but see Dak wears Husker hat every week. We are there as well. So get out on there. We have some giveaway shirts, hats. We'll give a tailgate location if you want to stop by our tailgate. All that fun stuff. All right. Well, for the first time in 2025, go Big Red.
GBR.
Boom. Go Big Red.
Oh, psyched.